Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new and fascinating collection of old photographs. I invite you to dive into the world of our intriguing history. Watch this video until the very end. It will surely leave you amazed. Enjoy watching. A heart-wrenching photo of two pilgrims walking along the Soroki River towards the famous Sarov Monastery. A man without legs is pulling along a blind companion with a rope. Russian Empire, 1903. A woman cheerfully pours whiskey from her cane, 1922. For 13 years, the U.S. had prohibition, and alcohol was poured out of barrels and mugs during raids. But everyone wanted a drink, including this lady. This is a warning from a Ku Klux Klan member to African-American residents of a Miami neighborhood who were expected to participate in the elections. May 1939. The Colosseum in Rome, now as a World Heritage Site, surrounded by a fence, security, and maintenance. But just 120 years ago, the world in Italy didn't care about the Colosseum. No one cared about Rome's heritage, and people were selling oranges near the unprotected ruins, like this wonderful old lady in 1900. The hairstyle of this Victorian fashionista is adorned with a taxidermy cat, and the bodice of her dress is decorated with real cattails, 1883. Protests. After Ruby Bridges, the first black girl to attend a white school, began her education, 1960. Africa learned not only to use monkeys in circuses, but also to work for the benefit of humanity. This giant baboon named Joseph worked as a switchman and conductor on the Pretoria Railway. According to textbooks, Baboon Joseph never made a mistake, and fare dodgers disappeared. Such a worker wouldn't hurt us today. Imprisoned homosexuals wearing women's dresses performing penal labor, Colorado, 1900s. An incredible photo from the late 19th century shows one of the most eccentric transport inventions in history, the Daddy Long Legs submarine railway. Underwater rails laid 3 meters deep, parallel to the shore. Its storm vulnerability was clear. The first storm in 1896 overturned the car. In 1901, a powerful storm completely destroyed the rails. The creator of this transportation system, Magnus Volk, went bankrupt and moved to Canada to build a flying steamship. But that's another story. At the Brighton Museum, there is a model of the Daddy Long Legs with Volk's inscription, "The main thing is not to be afraid of stupidity." Wild moose as riding animals. Yes, moose can be trained. Back in the 15th century, moose were riding animals in the Swedish army. And in the Russian Empire, a decree from the 18th century forbade appearing in the city on moose, for they are too swift and knock down peaceful citizens. It is known that in the Vologda province of the Russian Empire, moose were domestic and riding animals as late as the mid-19th century. This photograph is not just a party scene, it's a historic snapshot of the joy of an entire era. These men are celebrating the official end of Prohibition in the United States with cheers, laughter, and mugs in hand. December 5th, 1933, became a symbol of the end of one of the most controversial social experiments in American history. The horrors of Victorian dentistry, captured in grim photographs from an era when toothache meant a painful trip to the barber. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, dentistry was performed by barbers and blacksmiths. Cavities were common, but teeth were extracted using pliers. Tens of thousands of people died from botched treatments and infections. A Japanese brothel in 1890. The first photograph arrived in Japan in 1890, giving us this unique image. Brothels in Japan, like samurais and sake, were a national tradition. As soon as the Portuguese opened Japan in the 16th century and managed to penetrate the country, they began visiting geishas in brothels. The incredible boundaries and ancient Japanese art of pleasure drove devout Christians insane and gave charming geishas syphilis. This shot tells a story that seems like the plot of a movie, but it really happened. Pictured is Joyce McKinney, a former beauty queen and winner of the Miss Wyoming pageant in 1973 after her arrest. In 1977, she kidnapped Mormon missionary Kirk Anderson, handcuffed him, and had sex with him for 3 days. When, after World War I, the country was left without horses, they had gone to the front and never returned, the British took desperate measures. This photo shows an unusual helper for British farmers, an elephant named Lizzie replacing draft animals. This photo was taken in Sussex County, where Lizzie plowed fields and pulled carts, helping with the shortage of draft power. United Kingdom, around 1919. America tried to combat alcoholism with prohibition. During the Prohibition era, high-quality liquor was sought out and destroyed. In this photo, tons of corn whiskey are being poured out by the police after capturing an illegal distillery and its alcohol tanks in Chicago. Does it make you sad to watch this? This stunning photo shows American cavalrymen of the early 20th century posing in front of one of the world's most famous trees, the giant sequoia, nicknamed the Grizzly Giant. This tree is located in the Mariposa Grove of Yosemite National Park and still exists today, standing as a living witness to centuries of history. USA 1900. Bread survived the apocalypse, Pompeii, 79 AD. This unique photograph captures a loaf of bread that survived in the oven of a Roman bakery for nearly 2,000 years. During the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, the searing pyroclastic flow instantly charred the loaf, creating a natural sarcophagus of ash. No police officer would go out without a bulletproof vest. Today, but in 1923, American Murphy couldn't sell his newly invented bulletproof vest to the police. The officers didn't believe that any contraption could stop a bullet and didn't want to buy his product. Then stubborn Murphy put the vest on himself and stood in front of the sheriff. The sheriff shot. The bullet got stuck. The inventor fell and writhed in pain. But when he regained consciousness, he stood up and handed the police the bullet stuck in the vest. A rare photo from the Bakumatsu period captures the last keepers of ancient martial arts, the last samurai, Japan, 1860s. The largest horse in the world, captured in 1927 in England, named Supreme. An enormous horse, 2 meters tall and weighing 1.5 tons, was as heavy as freight trains. In 1931, the Bulu tribe in Cameroon heard about what was happening far away in America. They read in a newspaper that many people in the U.S. couldn't even afford food. The Great Depression had begun. They decided not to remain indifferent. Though the Bulu lived in poverty, they knew what hunger meant and chose to help. They created a relief fund and collected $3.77, a tiny sum, but it was all they had. The tribe surprised local missionaries by asking them to send the money to the United States to feed starving families. The missionaries were touched by their desire to help and sent the entire amount to New York. It's clear that the money couldn't feed even a single family, but the will to help was what truly mattered. British barber Virgil Gates patented a device for group shaving. The machine could shave 12 people at once. However, the device had one major flaw. It couldn't adjust the blades to fit individual face shapes. Moreover, the machine, swinging sharp blades, couldn't be considered safe. United Kingdom, 1903. A confectionery company in the U.S. stored its molasses in a giant tank in Boston. To save on maintenance, the tank burst in the winter of 1919, and nearly 9 million liters of sticky syrup-like substance, resembling honey or melted sugar, poured down on the city at 25 miles per hour. 200 people, horses, and cars got stuck to the sweet substance like flies, and not all of them were saved. This photo is a powerful symbol of the contradictions and complexities of American society. It shows a black police officer standing next to a Ku Klux Klan member, protecting him from an angry crowd that surrounded the Klan rally in Austin, Texas, 1983. During the Zhengkai Marathon in China, elite Kenyan runner Jacqueline Nayatipe Kiplimo made an incredible decision that cost her the victory and a $10,000 prize. At the 10-kilometer mark, Kiplimo saw a disabled Chinese athlete struggling to drink water at a hydration station. Instead of racing ahead, she slowed down and ran alongside him for 28 kilometers, helping him drink at each station. This act of kindness cost her the lead, and she finished second, missing the prize money. Kiplimo later said, "I never regretted helping that person. I did it to touch someone's heart." Sophia Loren was the idol of men in the 1960s. Everyone wanted her, but she didn't want anyone, and only acted in films instead of cooking soup and having children. Once, she was accidentally photographed in stockings during a movie shoot like this. And men around the world, from natives to plumbers, wanted Sophia even more. A man selling mummies on the street in Cairo, Egypt, 1875. Supporters of alcohol prohibition. A group of young women hold signs condemning alcohol, part of the prohibition movement in the United States, which was gaining momentum. These women believed that drunkenness destroyed families and moral values. USA, 1919. A party of 1,000 immigrant women arrived in New York in 1907 from the Baltic states in search of husbands. At the time, persistent rumors in Europe spread that due to a shortage of women in America, American men couldn't find wives. Inspired by this information, about 1,000 brides bought tickets for a ship bound for New York, which arrived on September 27, 1907. The day before, the Washington Post published an article about the arrival of over 1,000 women from European countries seeking marital happiness in America. This attracted the attention of many young American men who gathered en masse at the dock to meet the brides, who, in turn, carefully observed potential suitors from the deck. The craftiest dress merchant in history. In 1925, a Belgian shop owner couldn't sell his goods to women. Nothing helped. No street ads, no newspaper notices. Women didn't want his dresses. So, the tired and angry Belgian hung dresses and coats all over a multi-story building overnight to attract attention. The frightened townspeople called the police. The sight of officers removing the cursing merchant from the roof through a sea of dresses attracted the whole town. The goods were sold out in a couple of hours, and the merchant wasn't arrested. This photo captures a dramatic and controversial moment in the history of the Northern Ireland conflict. A British soldier uses two small children as a shield while patrolling Belfast, 1970s. This rare photo captures a transitional moment in history, a 1915 school bus where technological progress meets traditional horsepower. While large cities had already switched to cars, rural schools continued to use such transportation for another decade. USA 1915. When the world started smoking cigarettes and heading toward death from tobacco, athletes considered cigarettes as performance enhancers. They were thought to open up the lungs and make pedaling faster. Tour de France participants weren't an exception, thinking that smoking on the route opened their lungs so they would light up before climbing hills. Their lungs did open, but not in spring. They developed lung cancer. The 1927 Tour de France. In China, a war was declared on sparrows, supposedly because they were eating all the crops. Mao Zedong launched the campaign in 1958. People eagerly carried out the directive. People stood on rooftops waving rags, because sparrows need to rest every 15 minutes. Exhausted, the birds would fall dead and be delivered to special collection points. Over 1 million sparrows were exterminated in just a few days, and within a few months, they had virtually disappeared from all over China. The following year, a devastating famine began. Caterpillars devoured the crops, and Chinese families struggled to feed themselves. New sparrows had to be imported from the US, SR, and the USA. Hoofprint boots used during the Prohibition era in the United States. Alcohol vendors wore this type of footwear, so they couldn't be tracked by regular shoe prints. This photo tells a heartfelt story of love, loyalty, and sacrifice. The photo shows a man running from Burma to Bangladesh to escape violence, carrying his paralyzed parents in baskets suspended on a pole like a yoke. He walked 160 kilometers with them over 7 days, refusing to abandon them despite all the difficulties. This act became a symbol of love and human resilience in the face of war and suffering. The end of the 19th century marked a rapid progress in scientific achievements. First airplanes, light bulbs, telegraphs, railways, and much more. A simple housekeeper from the US was so impressed by all of this that she bequeathed her body to American science. After a year of meticulous scientific work, her nervous system became a visible educational tool. And when electricity was connected, the housekeeper terrified students. These unique shots capture Berlin residents trying to save zoo animals amid the thunder of Soviet artillery. Germany, 1945. A photo of a woman who put an ad to sell her 4 children. It's unclear whether she's crying or hiding her face in shame. USA, 1948. A typical member of the Badi tribe in southern Ethiopia. This tribe is known for its unusual traditions, one of which is the annual Kael ceremony. Every year in June, the heaviest bachelor in the tribe is selected to become the Fat Man of the Year and is the first to marry a woman of his choice. To prepare, participants follow a strict diet for 6 months, eating only milk and cow blood. Every morning, the men drink 2 liters of fresh blood. Due to the heat, it spoils quickly and must be consumed immediately. It's difficult to consume such a large quantity, and many feel ill, but they cannot refuse. The more weight, the better the chances of winning. On the day of the contest, participants cover themselves in a mixture of clay and mud and walk around the sacred tree of the tribe for 4 hours. The elders watch them closely and select the winner. The winner not only receives the honorary title, but also the main reward, the chance to marry a woman from the tribe first. A step into a new era. The first black student in a white school, 1954. This historic photo shows 15-year-old Charles Thompson, warmly greeted by his classmates at Clinton High School, Tennessee. In September 1954, just 4 months after the landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education, which declared racial segregation in schools unconstitutional. The first fake in the world. In 1918, Francis Griffiths decided to become famous and managed to photograph live fairies in the English forest, with them playing little pipes alongside her. At that time, there were no animation technologies or computer graphics, and the world was shocked by the supposed reality of the fairy world. The girls became rich and famous. Only in 1983, shortly before her death, one of them confessed that it was an elaborate forgery. Punishment in Mongolia. This was published in National Geographic in 1913. The photo shows a common punishment for criminals who were placed in a small box that they couldn't fit into and displayed for public view while being subjected to starvation. An American farmer demonstrates his vehicle powered by a goat running on a treadmill. The goat-mobile could reach speeds of up to 9 miles per hour. A spare goat rests on top. USA, 1,900. People didn't just harness horses, donkeys, and oxen. Basically, any domesticated herbivorous animal could be harnessed to a cart or saddled up for a ride. This is demonstrated by this curly, serious little boy from Germany next to his father's riding pig. This photo shows a legendary moment in archaeological history, the intact seal on Tutankhamun's tomb, doors before it was opened in 1923. This rope with a clay seal symbolized that the tomb had remained undisturbed for over 3,000 years, since the reign of the 18th dynasty pharaoh. The seal bore symbols of authority, divine protection, and the name of the pharaoh guarding the gateway to the afterlife. This is not a Nazi or a polite Chikatilo. This is not sodomy, but a patient at an orthopedic doctor's appointment. It's unclear what's wrong with such a swan-like back. And the orthopedic doctor grabbed a metal tool with his right hand, while doing something unclear with his left hand. 1890, Henry Freeman, a lifeboatman in Whitby, wearing a cork life jacket. He had tried to convince other lifeboatmen to wear cork life jackets, but no one else did. During a violent storm, disaster struck and the lifeboat capsized. Only Henry survived, thanks to his cork life jacket. Shortly afterward, they became mandatory for all rescuers. Philippine Aborigines in an enclosure at the New York Zoo, 1905. In 1920, ideas of healthy habits were a bit different. Here, athletes casually share cigarettes during a Tour de France bike race. Cigarettes purchased from a hospital bed in the 1950s. A former concentration camp prisoner selects glasses from a pile taken from inmates. 1945, Poland, Nazi concentration camp, Auschwitz. Thank you for watching and for staying until the end of the video. Please let me know in the comments which photos evoked emotions in you. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give a like. I wish you all the best. Goodbye